Good morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning, and we're here again for Atlantic Television Network Sunday. Now, Atn Sunday is a magazine show that touches on key issues. These issues are dissected by professionals and relevant stakeholders per time. And today our first point of call is from Rivers State. NSCDC vows to fish out killers of 4 operatives. Southeast economy. Rep. Carlo speaks on impact of sit-at-home order by IPOB. On the off-cycle elections, we have PANDEF urge INEC to investigate reports of pre-filled result sheets. Environment, we have FG raises concern over pollution rates, commits to reverse trend. Still on off-season elections, INEC must cancel 5 Kogi Central local government areas elections coming from Milaya. Off-season elections still, we have EFCC recovers 11,040,000 naira from suspected vote buyers. In Bayelsa State, we have PDP accuses APC thugs of violence against electoral officers. Our guest this morning is no other, but well, we'll leave this till after the break and we'll introduce the guest.
Okay.
The people are voting their mind. So we met before the election. We made everyone to understand that we are here for peace.
So take notes. They have seen their policies. Hello, they are challenging the bill. They are challenging the bill. All over the world, where are you from? I am live now. The Labour Party agent wants to kill the presiding officer. Look at him. Look at him. He wants to kill the party. He wants to kill the presiding officer. Look at him now. Look at his face very well. Yes. Look at him. He wants to kill the presiding officer. want to make a comment. That's it.
This election is incomplete.
Action Alliance Woman Leader. Ogonimagongo local government. There is no election in Ogonimagongo local government. We were at the polling unit as at 8 a.m. in the morning. We discharged all our duties. Our agents were present everywhere. We were ready for elections, and there is no election in Ogonimagongo. I want to election material. No election material in Ogonimagongo local government.
Send it to me.
And to add to it, I was there myself when they asked for the number of what's it called? The number of accreditation that is supposed to be on the rivers, but they refused to show them. Then how do you now, if you cannot ascertain the number of accredited people and the number of registered voters, how do you now declare such results in that unit? So this is our grievances, and that is why we are saying that as far as Ogonimagongo is concerned, no election. No election. We are not violent. This is a conglomeration of different political parties, both SDP, both PDP, both ADC, all parties without APC. That is not here is APC. That is our grievances. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Election in Ogonimagongo. So we need to.
What are these arms for in your hand?
My name is Jonah Daumiaye. I am from Fonibri community. I am the special advisor.
Fonibri community in where?
Fonibri community in Bomokland, Southern Niger. I am the special advisor to Great Joshua Makaiva on media and public affairs. Joshua Makaiva is the deputy governorship candidate of the APC. Today, being 11th of November 2023, I was arrested with some arms and ammunition in Fonibri community.
Who sent you to Fonibri community?
I went there on behalf of my boss, Great Joshua Makaiva.
As what?
Fonibri,
as what?
Fonibri community is my community. Yes, I vote there.
What are these arms for?
What are these arms for in your hand?
What are these arms for?
What are the arms for?
We use the arms during election activities.
You do what?
We use the arms for election.
So you are a political
activities.
talks to Joshua Makaiva? You mean you are a political talks to Joshua Makaiva?
Yes, I am.
They are going to Abuja.
And they are wearing police uniform.
They are wearing police, fake police. Sometime when they come here this morning. I'm telling you. Police are fake police. Police are paid and follow code. Are you on election duty? Are you on election duty? That's yes. You jump up. You. Come on.
We have Ahmed pass. These are the talk. These are their rifle.
Excuse me. Look at your rifle.
Look at them. They are not with ID card and they are saying that they are policemen. They are not getting anything.
Okay.
The people are voting their mind. I get me. So we met before the election. We made everyone to understand that we are here for peace. Vote your mind. Any party, anywhere, just vote your mind. Everything is working. So far, so good. From the ones we have seen so far, we have not gotten any complaint about network having delays or beavers not functioning well. So far, for now, till this moment, no complaints so far. My name is Divine Daberechi Akomba, and also a leader and a youth leader of this community. Yes, they really came on time. I was surprised, unlike before initially. In fact, I was very, very surprised that they came on time. Something after 10 or so, 10 minutes after 7. So we really, if Nigeria, if we should keep doing like this, I think we will have a way forward.
This is Odimo local government, Okole Ward 1 and 2. The police people didn't want us to go and vote. We will be standing here for past 1 hour with our members. The DPO said that we must pay him before we go. So take note.
They have seen their policies. Hello, you are challenging the bill. You are challenging the bill. All over the world, where are you from? I am live now. The Labour Party just wants to kill the president of order. Look at him. Look at him. He wants to kill the party. He wants to kill the presiding officer. Look at him now. Look at his face very well. Yes. Look at him. He wants to kill the presiding officer. He wants to eliminate the presiding officer. Look at him. election is inconclusive.
Action Alliance Woman Leader. Ogorimagongo local government. There is no election in Ogorimagongo local government. We were at the polling unit as at 8 a.m. in the morning. We discharged all our duties. Our agents were present everywhere. We were ready for elections, and there is no election in Ogorimagongo.
Election material.
No election material in Ogorimagongo local government.
Send it to me.
And to add to it, I was there myself when they asked for the number of what's it called? The number of accreditation that is supposed to be on the rivers, but they refused to show them. Then how do you now, if you cannot ascertain the number of accredited people and the number of registered voters, how do you now declare such results in that unit? So this is our grievances, and that is why we are saying that as far as Ogorimagongo is concerned,
No election.
No election. We are not violent. This is a conglomeration of different political parties, both SDP, both PDP, both ADC, all parties, without APC.
That is not here is APC.
That is our grievances. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Election in Ogorimagongo. So we need to.
I'm OG.
They are going to Abuja.
And they are wearing police uniform.
They are wearing police. Fake police. Some time when they come here this morning. I'm telling you. Police are fake police. Police are paid and colorful police. Oh my, why then they police? If you are going to, are you on election duty? Are you on election duty? That's what yes. You jump up. You. Come on. Good job. You this person. Hey, sit down. Sit down. I beg, run, I beg, run, I beg, run, I beg, run. You can run. 400 meters, I cannot beat you. I will pick you. 300. Do you have your ID card? None of you have ID card.
I'm madman. What is the talk that we are talking about? We have been making a comment calling on the government that there are thugs in Ahmed farms. These are the thugs. These are their rifles.
Look at your rifle.
Look at them. They are not with ID card and they are saying that they are policemen. They are not getting anything.
My name is Jonah Daumiaye. I am from Fonibri community. I am the special advisor.
Fonibri community in where?
Fonibri community in Bumokland, Atn Sunday. I am the special advisor to great Joshua Makaiva on media and public affairs. Joshua Makaiva is the deputy governorship candidate of the APC. Today, being 11th of November 2023, I was arrested with some arms and ammunition in Fonibri community.
Who sent you to Fonibri community?
I went there on behalf of my boss, Great Joshua McIver.
As what?
Fonibri,
as what?
Fonibri community is my community. Yes, I vote there.
What are these arms for?
What are these arms for in your hand?
What are these arms for?
What are the arms for?
We use the arms during election activities.
You do what?
We use the arms for election.
So you are a political
activities.
talks to Joseph McIver? You mean you are a political talks with Joseph McIver?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for staying with us so far on Atn Sunday, and of course, officially welcome to Atn Sunday Talk. But to get on with the issues making the news, some of the reels you already saw, some of them quite generationally embarrassing, and then, you know, like we'll keep warning on this show, on this desk, on daily basis, be careful what you do out there. But now, let's quickly welcome a very own Mr. Dokubo. He is the Vice President, NUJ Zone F, South Zone. He's seated live in the studio with us. He's not finding a lot of these things funny, but let's get officially welcome him, and then we'll get him to know what he thinks about all the issues in the news. Good morning and welcome to ATN Sunday Talk.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
How are you? You look very radiant in red, all pun intended.
Well, we thank God for Sunday, another Sunday. Thank God for a brand new week. And of all the things that are happening, well, if not for God, I don't know what I would still be breathing as Nigerians.
As a Nigerian.
Yeah. Quite very challenging times being a Nigerian, actually, an ordinary Nigerian.
God is in the story, and I believe that's why we are all here. All right, let's start with some of the issues we have lined up in this news this morning. Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Dr. Ahmed Abubakar Audi, vows to fish out killers of Fort Corps operative in Rivers State. Audi, who spoke in Port Harcourt during his visit to Rivers State to condole with the families of the deceased, charged the personnel to be resolute, saying there should be no compromise in the ongoing war against oil theft. The victims were killed by gunmen at Alakiri, Degema, local government area of Rivers State. Audi said the Minister of Interior, Dr. Lubumi Tunji Ojo, sympathized with the deceased families, insisting that the blood of the officers would not be a waste. Audi lauded the blood in cold blood. Now, this promise of unflinching support for the command, for the commission, and then all that issues that came up with it. But what I would have loved to hear him say is not enough to make these threats when security agencies of officers are killed. It's been like the one in Imo State, for instance, where 2 vehicles containing task force operatives were burnt down and they're dead. We don't even know who they are. We don't know family names and all of that. So we talk about DSP Bako and Bashim and several other persons who have been murdered in cold blood in an attempt to serve the nation as a security agent. You know, sometimes when you say, okay, you sympathize with the family, you do all of that. Do you think that all of this is maybe enough? Are we as a people providing the right kind of support for these people who have more sophisticated arm than you? So do you think we are providing enough or adequate support for our men in uniform?
At the moment, it wouldn't appear so. But are we talking on the side of the people? On the side of government?
Government and the people.
Now, the people appear to be helpless. What can you possibly do in the face of somebody who is wielding a gun? No matter how small that gun is. You know that if you are bare, you have your bare hands, and the one has any kind of weapon at all, not to even talk about a gun, then more equipped than these ones that are coming to them. So it is fire for fire. Who has superior firepower wins. And more often than not, these people, again, our experience is that oftentimes they come with more sophisticated weapons. That is not to say completely the people have nothing to do. The people can share intelligence with the security agencies, and then these things can be nipped in the bud even before they come out. And I think that was what Bashim here in River State was doing, taking the fight, and that's from above come, and then they are let off the hook. So we need to do a whole lot of house cleaning, a whole lot of house cleaning for this to happen. Each time when it happens against them, actually, I can bet you in a very short while, they can put out their men on the job, and they will get these people apprehended and probably deal with them because their men are involved. But every day, ordinary Nigerians are killed for free, and nobody appears. They just appear like they don't have anybody to protect them. And if there is no protection, if they are not sure of what the authorities will do, at the end of the day, you
actually avert all of these and, you know, avoid wasting lives and trying to actually right the wrongs at the end of the day.
Criminality is criminality. There is no society where you wouldn't have criminals. What differentiates one from another is the level. We're talking about equipment. You are sending people to areas where you have organized crime. There is nowhere in the world where organized crime, syndicated crime, whatever, done or perpetrated with bare hands, you know that oil theft is big business. I mean, it's business that is dealt in dollars. So for those businesses to thrive, they also do know that the ones that are perpetrating it actually know they are doing the wrong thing. And that, so for them to survive in that business is to stand against security agencies. So what is it that others are doing right that we are not doing? Why are we not learning? This is like a swan song. We keep singing this in over and over, and it keeps happening. This is a country, even as we speak, there is, okay, when you say oil theft, for these ones, they are not even the very big ones. So these are even the ones on the creeks here. When they tell the place they are talking about, this is shallow water. So it's not even the big ones where you have real bunkering. This one are even small fries, as it were, when it comes to this issue of oil theft. And yet, this is happening. Now, why is, even at this point, why is this one, I mean, the business thriving? You also find a situation where the products that are coming out are not even in the market. Government has not been able to supply. And it is needed. Where there is demand, of course, somehow people will have to supply because there's money. So I mean, it's not something that it's a straight-jacketed thing. It has a lot of multifaceted, I mean, a lot of faces to it. So if you are going to fight this, then official quotas, let's have it. Now, we see, at the moment, a lot of these ones, because they feather their own pockets, or, I mean, where they go and make compromise and then strike deals and get more, or you just expose them to unnecessary danger.
Now, speaking of exposing people to unnecessary danger, which is directly pointing at the vulnerable situations that are put by security, the lower cadre security operatives are placed in, because the big boys are not the ones on the waterways, you know, trying to battle with pirates and what have you, or oil theft, vandals and all of that. Now, speaking of the welfare of these security officers, if you look at so far, in part of the story, the commander was talking about, the commandant general was talking about gunboats being donated by the government and all of that. And then you ask yourself, how many of these personnel can actually, in an emergency situation, can actually operate this gunboat, and how much of that has been able to secure these officers? And then bring it to bear again on the sincerity of the Nigerian government, both past and present, to truly fight oil theft. So one of the things that, because you talk about oil theft, you talk about the operators of oil theft, you mentioned bunkering and all of that. One of the things that came to the fore in all of this is how this impacts our economy. Probably if it wasn't impacting the economy, nobody would have talked about that. But be that as it may, it's ensuring that promises made about artisanal refining, promises made about providing quality life in this region as part of what was reached in the agreement in terms of fighting militancy and oil theft, all combined together when the Niger Delta militants were up there. Do you also think that the government of Nigeria have done the needful in ensuring that these boys really get out of the creeks by providing this quality education and providing opportunity or platforms that would help them to, okay, you get to train them and you provide them a proper reintegration into the society? Has the Nigerian government done well to ensure that these boys are taken off the creeks?
See, government has. So officially, I mean, at this level, you have corruption at every level of our society, and that is just what is creating the problem. These boys, they have taken to what they took to just to make the point. To actually, I mean, it's a matter of a point of when they got desperate, having nothing, as it were, you are from a community, you belong to a society that appears not to care, and yet so much is generated from your own very backyard, and these ones up there use it, I mean, they just flaunt it before you. And what do you do? To that extent, you just try to say, okay, if this is what we have come to. So for me, to fight oil thieves and to stop whatever we're doing, it's not just taking arms and going to. We need to have a responsible government, a government that will show that truly you feel you belong here and truly that you are part of the people. Because the people cannot be wallowing in such abject poverty and then government officials are, appears to be living in a different climate altogether. Should do what? They shouldn't survive? No, it just won't work.
All right. Thank you, sir. We're going straight to the next
But
one.
okay, just before you go in, okay, can we say that this is a picture of spitting your nose to spite yourself? Biting your nose to spite yourself, rather.
That is, which one are you
I'm referring to you saying people who would not even buy made in Nigeria car to grow the economy, who are telling us because the roads are bad, who are responsible for fixing the road, and that people are hungry, you're spending such amount of money in buying private vehicles, and you're saying that
on the growth and development of the Southeast region. Honorable Carlo expressed his concern during a courtesy visit from a delegation representing Aba Creatives Collective, the organizers of the Aba Fashion Show, held annually every December. Rep. Carlo, in a statement by his special assistant on press affairs, Udora Orizu, said the deputy speaker commended the delegation for their initiative, however emphasized the need for alignment with the goals of showcasing the rich cultural heritage and artistic talents of the Abia people. We actually expect that things of this nature should keep coming up in terms of trying to increase the state of affairs as it concerns the citizens and the cultural aspect too. So with respect to that information, I'd like to have your own take on it.
I think for me, anything about the sit at home, so much is being said, so much is also being done by the people and governments of the Southeast. But as it were, the federal government has not been able to get to the center of it all, or appears not to be doing enough with regards to exactly what the hue and cry is about. And it's about touching the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. The day federal government decides to resolve that matter, we will now clearly see who are the criminals. You will now begin to isolate the issues, and then let us now see who is the issue. Yeah, as long as that matter remains in
clarity of those taking the lead among us when it comes to this Nnamdi Kanu, the IPOB situation, and the core of their grievances, which ranges from what you call aftermath of the Civil War, which are yet to be properly managed today, the inability of the Nigerian government to deal with the core issues, the inability of those taking the lead, like Rep. Kano, for instance, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly. People came to you to talk about, maybe invite you for the annual Aba Fashion Show, which somebody in his position as well should use his capital, his network capital, to ensure that that event is pressed to the fore. Again, he's bringing the issue of the impact of sit at home and how that affects the people of the business in Southeast and all of that. Oh, we know all of this. We don't need you to tell, but what people are expecting from him, for instance, is to say, this is where we are with the release of the discussions on the release of Nnamdi Kanu. This is where we are in having a Southeast conference to discuss the issues going on in the Southeast that led Beth's IPOB in the first place. This is where we are in ensuring that the others giving this compensation, but this is where we are. That is what his position should be used for the people of the Southeast. But the idea of using IPOB, the seat at home, to milk attention is Rep. Kanu Okezie, for instance, is he really being genuine and sincere to the people of the Southeast, whom he is supposed to be representing in the National Assembly, when he brings these issues on a different matter altogether?
Well, it may not be, he may not have been too far from it. They are talking about business. It's a fashion show, of course, you're talking about business.
The event is in December.
Yeah.
The idea is to use his capital, his network capital, for instance, to ensure that people come there. But bring it, so using sit at home, for instance, as an issue which should be a different conversation. We should be telling the people, this is what we are doing, this is where we are, if that conversation should come up. And using his network capital to ensure that we are going to the Southeast and this is what is going to happen. What is it supposed to be?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't said this. He is not going to be part of whatever they are doing. He would still be part of it. But if you're going to do this in this Southeast, we have a huge problem. And I think it is, yes, I agree with you, he should have been telling as to the effort being made. Not just saying that, oh, this thing is out there.
We already know.
Almost, we know it is out there. And we know that the Southeast governors or governments at various times are, in Enugu, you keep hearing, oh, we will not, and all that. People have been trying. Governments in the Southeast have been trying. Well, I do know that it is the federal government that has not lived up to its own expectation on this matter. And he is part of that federal government. So at this particular point in time, it's his responsibility to actually tell the people where this issue is. He should, that's the way he should have gone about it. And sometimes I even wonder when these people lament, the people who ought to be the ones you are looking up to as people who should be resolving the matter, when they speak in tones of lamentation. I wonder, sometimes I wonder why they even put out themselves of the positions they occupy. If you know that all, would it be just mere selfishness? Well, do you actually know what you are setting yourself up for, what you are actually, when you vie and continue to press for that position? So, for the issue of the Southeast and business climate and environment, indeed, the issue of security will have to be dealt with squarely. And for me, so many persons, so many organizations, call them Ohayanese Indigo, call them whatever you want to call them, and the governments of these southeastern states have actually been doing so much. But there is nothing they will do that will take away the fact that the federal government has so much to do. And as much as they do, they won't be able to do that which the federal government will have to do. So as long as that is still hanging, it will just be, I mean, scratching and bring necessary pressure to bear on the federal government to resolve this matter once and for all.
Okay. Let's get back to the major issues in the news, if you may. But Edwin Clark tasked the Independent National Electoral Commission to investigate a report of irregularities in Saturday's governorship election in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. The PANDEF leader who made the call during a court visit by a group South Diamond ladies in Abuja said this is an election to give the INEC itself the opportunity to redeem itself. Discovering completed result sheets with names of voters and so on is very unfortunate. INEC should investigate and make a public statement on the issue, otherwise they will be condemned as we did in the last general election. I still believe the election will be free and fair to a greater extent. The elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi State is that I think INEC should redeem its image. What happened in the last election was very disappointing, because if you say that you are going to use technology, you must use it because you provide it in your guidelines and in the electoral law. INEC should redeem its image because without an effective, honest INEC, we are in trouble because democracy will not work in this country. Asking an electoral umpire to redeem its image as an elder statesman is right. It's his responsibility. But INEC on it, and in fact, I read one of the human rights lawyers, Barrister Inibehi Efyong, say that, make a statement, I can't quote him verbatim right now, but basically saying that the institutes and the man running the institutes are a shame unto themselves as a result of the outcome of the elections. Referring to Pa Edwin Clark's call to INEC to redeem itself, how do you explain the fact that pre-filled result sheets, how is anyone anywhere in the world ended up by saying, if they don't do that, then we are finished? Is anything left of us when it comes to how our leaders are elected in this country?
See, I keep saying everything is leadership. Our country would not make much progress as long as we continue to have these issues around our leadership recruitment. The kind of desperation I see, I'm asking myself, why are these people actually getting themselves into this if truly they mean to serve? Now, INEC would be an issue that is still hanging over our heads, the issue of 2023 general elections. And then coming out to hear that INEC officials, people who were recruited by the electoral body, are in possession, this time around not even in the politicians, not with any other persons, but they themselves, having result sheets already filled. You just ask yourself whether you are still in this country. Are we still living? Are we still alive? Is this still happening or not? But indeed, what do you expect? The beneficiaries of that worrisome situation are the ones. So, if this is the way to go, if this is what it means to win elections in Nigeria, then, I mean, you just go ahead. I think, as a nation, we are not angry enough. We're not, and I look at the Nigerian people, I see whether truly these things actually trouble us really enough. How there, in such a short period, still happening under our noses, and then everywhere, everybody is still quiet, and we hope that these things will just go. It won't happen.
Okay. Let's also look at INEC and the reason why they are actually the ones to oversee everything that has to do with elections in Nigeria. It begins to look like INEC is having some level of difficulty in getting these things done properly, because we almost expect
the people who benefited from that flawed process are the ones that are in office. That flawed process brought them to office, and they have not, they are gluten, they are still, I mean, enjoying themselves. And by everything that they have done, it's like they are already setting, some of the commissioners, I mean, the resident electoral commissioners that were recruited recently, by that same exercise, you are seeing like people who are trying to entrench themselves in perpetrating these problems that we're talking about, in perpetuating them. Because if you are going to recruit persons that ought to be on president electoral commissioners, you want to think that you ought to be looking for people who are completely, that have nothing, at least, as much as Nigerians can see, that have nothing to do with, any political party or people or politicians. But if you go and bring people that people can brazenly, in broad daylight, see people who have so much vested interest. Wow. And we are just quiet and we think these things will just magically change. What are you recruiting them to come and do? See, it just won't work. And that is why they will have the effrontery to do what they have done yesterday in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo. That's what it is. They will have official cover. So it's really disturbing. Before going into this election, what kind of rhetorics, what kind of statements did we hear from the authorities? We know when Yar'Adua got his own election, got into election, the first things he told Nigerians that he understood that the elections were flawed. The process that brought him was flawed. And he said, no, we can't continue like this. We have to do something. And he did something. When Jonathan got into office, he said, look, if you're going to do this for me, please don't. My ambition is not worth the blood of anybody. What kind of rhetoric have we heard from this present one? What kind of statements? What is their body language telling? And they went ahead, and the first time you are going to recruit persons, you now did what you did. You have, clearly stated what we are like, a state that is still being captured, as it were. We're almost completely taken in by this. It's unfortunate. As long as there is no consequences for bad behavior, of course, what you should expect is more and even a more grievous bad behavior. So, whatever happened yesterday, it wasn't as if people didn't know about it. It wasn't as if people were not warned. It wasn't as if we went into it blindly. It was bound to happen. And as long as others who did it have not been reprimanded, have not been sanctioned, of course, it is an incentive for others to do more, to get into it.
Now, speaking of, you have just painted a very, very picture of our state in this country. On what grounds, for instance, is a man who is alleged to be a thief, a murderer, who is a president, for instance, on what moral grounds or even legal grounds would he stand to say the thug who murdered someone in any of the states yesterday should go to jail? Lack of consequence management, lack of responsive followership. All of these, a lot of experts have said, have contributed to where we are as a nation. Looking at the quagmire and as dreary, like I said, as it looks, as dampening as it feels, is there a way out? You already said there's no expectation from this INEC. You already also, we know, and anyone who was a keen observer knows that nothing is going to come out of this that was going to be different from February and March. Yet, time is running out. The year is gone. In few days' time, we are done. We'll wrap up this. We're running into 2024. We're running into 2025, 26, and then the elections begins again, campaigns and what have you. Have we as a people, decided that this part where we are now is where we're going to. The leaders who came into power through these means, we call them senators, National Assembly executive, or as law legislators, as the case may be, are they the ones that is going to get us to the El Dorado that we assume or hope that we can get to? What is the way out of this quagmire? If you can paint any picture, or like, how do we get out of this?
I think the Nigerian people should take their salvation in their hands.
How do we? You cannot protest. Labour is supposed to be the body that should help us to do that. If you remember, by Tuesday or thereabout, 14th is when, sometime, they are meant to be going on a nationwide strike because, like Peter Obi said, even the supplementary budgets didn't also address the core issues that affect the people, for instance, food insecurity. Now, Labour is saying, we have been on this with you for too long. Clearly, nothing is coming out of it. And the industrial court just said, no, you can't go on strike. So how exactly should the people take the laws into their hands? Are we done for?
I don't see, I was having this argument with somebody, conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, see, there is no way the Nigerian people can continue to rely on labor to fight for them. Exactly what government has just done. They can stop labor. They know they can stop labor through the courts. But I do not know how they can stop the Nigerian people. And see, can you now stop Nigerian people from coming out to the streets and say, look, enough is enough, we have had enough. Change our situation. It just won't happen. I mean, how are you going to outlaw that? But they know they can deal with labor, they have faces to them, and they can deal with them as they wish. So, our salvation would not be in the hands of any group, organized group for that matter.
Isn't that chaos?
Chaos?
Yeah. If for instance, I agree with you, labor is basically locked out. If what happened to Ajero can happen to him, I totally agree with you that our salvation may not be in the hands of any group. Look at NSAS and how it turned out. But let's say we look at this right now. We're in Port Harcourt. As a group of friends, we sit down and we think, what do we do? No food, no money to pay fees. We can't take care of our children and families and loved ones. And we decide to hit the street. Another group in Katsina. And we all decide to say, okay, isn't that going to be chaotic and anarchy, even though that has come to the fore as what it is?
See, as biting as the economy is, I find it very hard under the circumstance to continue to ask Nigerians to bear. I do not know what else is left. Should be the ones to decide the best way out of it. So it will not be even in my own position to begin to tell Nigerian people they should so badly. Then they should decide for themselves how, the best way to go. But definitely the way we are seeing, government has almost lost. People have lost confidence in government to take them out of their present. Have also been targeted by government and therefore will not help. And so the people are left to themselves. What you do, if you can, if it's okay and you can manage it, okay, no problem, we'll manage. But if it is not, I fear that we have pushed the people to the wall. I don't know whether they are at the wall now or they are very close to it. Maybe there's still some room. But if you actually push these people to the wall, or whatever you're going to call it, whether it's anarchy, whatever. I don't see anarchy, and I won't subscribe to anarchy. I won't subscribe to any violence. But I know that in certain societies, just civil disobedience has, taken them, given them something. So people can be pushed to that level. A lot of the criminality before now we talked about is as a result of the situation that we have at hand. People can't survive. I'm talking about basic survival. People can't move around. The noose is tightening every other day. And you are still asking them to tighten it more. You wake up in the morning, people just wake up in the morning and the entire day is bleak. That is if they are able to even wake up. Some people sleep and then they can't even wake up in the morning because waking up, there's nothing else to do. You have nowhere to, you have to wake up when you think there's something else, there's something you have to do. When there's nothing else to do, what happens? So it is that bad. People can't even move around freely. You can't move from place to place. Every other day, as we speak now in Rivers State, we can see the cost of fuel is about 700 naira. And so people can't even freely move. Even those who are trying to eke a living, your profit margin or whatever it is so thin because you know the person who is coming to patronize you doesn't even have the money. See, for the first time in my life, I found in Port Harcourt where before you enter a vehicle, a public vehicle, you are. What does that? You're asking, oh, from this place, how much? Let me know. If the man says I will pay this, the other one says no, I won't. You have to haggle price before you get into a public. I mean, it's not as if it's a drop. Oh no, you've not called for a drop. You're not taking Uber. You're not taking any of those Bolt or whatever. This is ordinary movement, ordinary movement. So you know at one point or the other, before now it is fixed. You know how much you are going to pay. You just join and then you move on. But now, people will stand right there and argue. So at the end of the day, even the bus driver himself sometimes is forced against what he knows it wouldn't even buy him the next fuel the next time to say, instead of blowing empty, what do I do? And he knows that this person also doesn't have the money. So we are living in such times. And yet, we're still managing to move from day to day. It's hopelessness.
Thank you, sir. We're going on a short break right now, and when we're back, we'll continue with the rest of the conversation. Stay with us.
Frontline. 5-4 Empire Entertainment, in collaboration with Rivers State Television, presents International Legendary Grand Award 2023. Theme: The Distinguished Conference, and Academic Beauty Queen Nigeria 2023, Season 5, The Beauty Elect Project, the #1 educational project contest nationwide. Performing Original Stereo Man, GYC, MC Mumu, Odogu Vibes, etc. Host Lady Chinyere Nwabweze, Nollywood star actress, and Emeka Okoye, Nollywood actor, and other special guests of honor. Date: 19th November 2023. Venue: Silver Blaze Garden and Hotel, 39 Eze Baka Baka Avenue, Woji Road, Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. Time: green carpet, 4 p.m. Main event, 5 p.m. Tickets: regular, 2,000 naira. VIP, 5,000 naira. Table for 5, 50,000 naira. Gold table, 300,000 naira. Diamond, 1 million naira. For more information, partnerships and sponsorships, please call 0813-359-3563 or 0906-047 4445. You can also email us at 54ckempire@gmail.com. Powered by 54 Empire Entertainment, Eloquent Suite, River State Television, Silver Blaze Garden and Hotels, Wish 99.5 FM, Atlantic Television Network, AIT and 8 Ball Play Lounge, etc.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back to ATN Sunday, and on this last segment, ATN Sunday Talk Now. Minister of Environment Abbas Balarabe has voiced a deep concern over the escalating rate of pollution in Nigeria. He emphasized the government's commitment to reversing this alarming trend. Balarabe highlighted pollution as one of the most pressing environmental issues, not only within Nigeria but globally. He assured that his ministry would collaborate with the state governments to tackle this menace. While speaking in Abuja, Balarabe disclosed plans to utilize waste as a resource, converting garbage into wealth for the country. He expressed apprehension about Nigeria's ranking among countries with high pollution and wastage. Balarabe acknowledged that population growth and advancing technologies contribute to the intensification.
Next week, I've asked them to come and submit their report. There have written many reports. So I don't know the one you are referring to, but the one that I think the latest report is the one that we are going to meet with them on that. And like I'm sure you know, I can see that you know what's going on there. The meeting I had lasted about 3 hours. There are a lot of issues that are linked to this issue of issues to do with the community issues, the use issues, the issue of lack of buy-in by the state government, the River State government. I think we are trying to handle. I've been able to get across to the governor, and I think by the time I get there, we'll sit down and get the state government to key into it. So these are things that are really hampering or are obstructing the success of this. That's why in my earlier statement I said that we are going to push.
Well, in addressing the Ogoni cleanup, like he heard the minister say, he pledged to engage community leaders, youth, market women to effectively tackle the challenges facing Ogoni. I don't know if this is a new promise, if he should be making a new promise, or if he should be consolidating, but we'll come back to that. Let's take it from the issue of pollution as a major concern for us in Nigeria. Pollution from oil exploration particularly, and then other forms of environmental degradation that happens as a result of natural resources, occurrences. But the issue of pollution, as the Minister for Environment, for instance, is talking about how this is a major concern and how this needs to be tackled. I'm wondering in my head, does he have a policy direction? Is he working on one? Because that's what I expected to hear from this, and not to tell. We already know. Well, some of us who live in River State, for instance, cannot walk into LMA Petrochemical and breathe because of how toxic the air in the petrochemical is. We already know that. We know how much this impact the health of underage children in terms of skin cancer and all of that. Anyone can walk into some of these hospitals and ask the pediatricians, for instance, to give them data of the number of children with issues like that, or the issues of respiratory issues that a lot of people are down with in this state, and we're not even conscious of that. So put all of these side by side. Is the minister really ready or to totally understand what environmental pollution is, from the oil exploration to degrading the environment, the devastation to the environment, to the marine wastes, that's the waste in the waters that is also costing us a lot when they talk about the blue economy? If he understands that, help us understand why we are not hearing policy direction, for instance. This is where you're talking about environmental pollution and all of that. Why is that not part of what we heard in this conversation?
Is it one thing? One thing that has actually troubled me about this present government is that it does appear to me as if they do not have. You are not prepared getting into government, because each time they sound like people who are campaigning, and time is going. Actually, time is running. From the very first, from the word go, subsidy is gone, and there was no plan. There was no plan, no strategy, nothing no policy, no program, nothing. And you say, subsidy is gone. And here we are, compounded the woes of ordinary Nigerians. And at the end of the day, you are now struggling against the tide. I do not see how that is a good way of governing a people. I thought that people would ordinarily have a plan, have strategies at doing things, and then when you get in, you have a blueprint of how your government is going to run on so many of all of these things. So when you get into government, what you naturally do is to roll out the plans and start working. But when you now see government officials come down to restate the problem that every other person keep telling people, oh, yeah, we know environmental degradation, this one, who does not know that environment is degraded. Others have been doing something since. So tell us exactly what you have on ground and then how you are going to, how that you have started and where it will take us to. So it's really, and this happens in so many sectors. So many. Obviously, again, it doesn't appear like to me like people who are truly, truly prepared and have a clear vision about what they intend to do with the situation at hand. So to tell us and for me, it's mere rhetoric. It's just mere political talk. It's just mere psyching the people, telling the people what you think they want to hear. And that is not good enough for Nigerians at where we
said. Where are the database of, we had, you remember we had issue of suits?
Yeah.
The health impact of that study was done by private individuals, non-governmental organizations. I would expect that the minister who understands that this is the region with one of the major environmental pollution issues to have that data on his hands, on the study, I would expect him to have gone through the UNEP report, for instance. Now let's talk about Ogoniland, because he mentioned Ogoniland, how he wants to bring in the youth, the women and children. Now, again, I don't know how much of a background he has in environmental management, for instance, or public issues, public-related issues and all of that. But again, I also expected him, like I said, there is a document called the UNEP report on Ogoni, how the United Nations Environmental Pollution says this is what should be done in Ogoni. So I expect that as a minister, that's the first document you need to pick up on your hand and actually study that. But when he begins to talk about working with women and children and youth and all of that, is it that he hasn't even gone down there to understudy what is going on in Ogoni in terms of the remediation process going on, in terms of the yearnings of the people? For instance, the Ogoni people are still, as at 10th of November, which was just a few days ago, are still saying, hey, the Ogoni Bill of Rights, and it's not being respected. The government seems not to be living up to his part of the bargain to say, this is what we're going to be doing. A part of that is the fact that the government, the Nigerian government, the federal government, promised Ogoni people that the health impact of this environmental devastation is going to be taken care of. The Center of Excellence to test the soil, we learned, is still being built. Fortunately, they brought it back to build it in Ogoni. Okay. Now, the issue of remediation and then ensuring that they manage the level of benzene in their water, which is as a result of the pollution also. We don't know where they are providing quality water and ensuring that the health data for who is suffering with water and all of that is taken. There is no comprehensive data on that. So I would expect that a minister should get irritated that the things stated in the UNEP report is not being done. Talking about working with youth and women and children, how does that affect what are the core issues in Ogoni land right now?
See, that's why you say when people continue to talk politics. And for me, that's my...
Yes, okay, that's what you think he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
Okay.
It's politics and politics and politics. And I think Nigerians, until we get to that point where we begin to talk less of politics and more of the people, we will not go far. We need to... Sorry. we need to get to that point where we see government get serious and government business and the lives of the people and talk less of politics. For me, it is early, it is soon, but when you come to the issue of politics, you see government very animated and seriously talking, behaving as such, but very little trickling down to touching the very lives of the people. The issues we're talking about are going to clean up and all that. They are not new issues. These are issues that have been there. So one would expect that for a government getting into office, and then you are going to address people in Ogoniland, they would expect you to come and tell them how far you are taking their lives from where you have met it to the next level, and not to come and restate the problem to them and tell them that you are going to work with them. So if you work with women and children, what would the Ministry of Women Affairs be doing? What would the Ministry of Humanitarian whatever be doing? It's your own is environment. And again, we also see a situation where this is why when you begin to choose the ministers, Nigerians, when they were going to be screened, clamored for people, as you nominate them to go for this screening, attach portfolios to them so that people will know. Even though that may not help so much, because we have, an assembly that will just say, take a bow and go. Or at best, whatever, no matter how you answer your question, nobody will be disqualified. Everything, at the end of the day, everybody will go. Yes, but then people will want to actually see square pegs in square holes. People will have a grasp of the things that we're talking about. And but beyond all of that, a government should have a blueprint. I insist that the government, that is why you have them in political parties. The political parties ought to have an agenda, and that is captured in their manifesto. If you ask me today, what is the manifesto of these political parties? The government of the same party, the next one comes, and then you are almost clearing out everything that the previous government did. You're almost having issues with all of them, and then wanting to have a clean break from whatever it is. So again, we talk about our politics centering around political parties, which here in Nigeria, these political parties are next to nothing. They don't serve any purpose. In other climes, when you find an ANC in South Africa, for instance, they have a policy. They have the ways they want to tackle their issues. And ANC government, one after another, will stay on that. Say, look, ours this is what it is. And if they find that a particular administration or government officials are not living up to that, they find a way to get them out of office, because the party has a clear agenda. But in Nigeria, it doesn't appear so.
Okay, now, because of our time, we agree that these both political parties there is no clear or defined agenda, as a matter of fact. That is, we talk about the PDP and the APC. However, on individual grounds, appointed them for political compensation. Is it the president that is stopping you from understanding the core challenges when it comes to environment, as Minister of Environment, for instance? Is it the president that will have to stop you from doing
Well,
that?
the president has given you the job. And in giving you the job, he also should have given you timelines, in fact, performance indicators and all that. So if this is what I am giving to you, I also give to you what I expect, your deliverables, and then it set you on the job. So you're going to work on that. And let me, retreat. Okay, they're going to the extent you now have an agency that is going to escort them, as it were, at the end of the day. Whoever is not able to deliver will shape them out. Let's hope and let's believe that is going to happen. But I doubt how that is going to happen, because because the leadership is steep in politics. They are still heavily consumed by how they'll win the next election and not how they'll make lives of Nigerians better. Otherwise, some of the things they're doing, they won't embark on them. While Nigerians are still, I mean, their conditions are getting worse by the day. No, I agree with you that, yes, before getting to Ogoniland, there are no fresh issues. You have high prep here, they should be under that, and I'm sure in the Ministry of Environment, you would have had a whole dossier of what the ministry is doing in this area.
Yeah.
And there should have been directors and people on the job. They should have given you fully a brief of what